Okay, so welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to be taking a look at AI.
Artificial intelligence?
Artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's a big one. I mean, we've had a lot of really great listener questions and source material
Yeah.
sent in. And so what we're going to try to do today is really kind of distill it down to
Yeah.
like the most important things that people need to know right now
Yes,
about AI.
absolutely.
And then also like where it might be taking us, sort
Right.
of like the future of AI.
Exactly. So we'll look at the nuts and bolts of what AI is, how it actually works,
Right.
and then how it's being used today,
Right.
and then look ahead and see what might be coming.
Okay, so I think the best place to start is with our sources. A lot of them start with like this fundamental breakdown of AI,
Yeah.
and they break it down into three sort of main categories:
Hmm.
narrow AI, general AI, and super AI.
Right.
So maybe you could just give us a quick overview of what those three categories actually mean.
Yeah, absolutely. So narrow AI, which is also sometimes called specific AI,
Hmm.
is basically AI that can do one thing
Oh,
really, really well. And so the sources had some great examples, things like voice assistants,
right.
like Siri or Alexa. Those are really good at understanding what you're asking them
Right.
and doing that one specific thing, like giving you the weather or playing music,
Right.
but they can't do other things.
Right.
Like you can't ask Alexa to write you a poem
Right.
or to
Exactly.
diagnose your illness. They're really focused.
Okay, so it's like a specialist.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Yeah.
a specialist.
Okay, got it. So that's narrow AI. Now, what about general AI? What does that mean?
So general AI, or AGI, as it's sometimes called,
Hmm.
is the idea that you would have an AI that can do all kinds of different
Correct.
things at the same level as a human.
Okay.
So, it can learn new things, it can reason, it can solve problems in lots of different areas.
Right.
And so this is the kind of AI you see a lot in movies, right?
Right.
Like they can talk to you and do all these human-like things.
Yeah.
But the important thing to remember is that, based on your sources at least, this doesn't exist yet.
Right.
This is still something that researchers are working towards.
Okay. So we have narrow AI, which is kind of where we are now,
Yeah.
and general AI, which is something that people are hoping for in the future.
Exactly.
What about super AI? This sounds like something out of a movie.
Yeah, so super AI would be AI that can not only do everything a human can do, but it can do it better.
Wow.
So it can think faster, it can learn faster, it can be more creative. It's basically superhuman intelligence.
Okay.
And again, this doesn't exist, but it's
Yeah.
something that people are thinking about and talking about as
All
a
right.
potential future of AI.
Interesting. Okay. So those are the three sort of ways we can categorize AI based on how intelligent it is.
Yes.
But the sources also talk about categorizing AI based on functionality. So like how it actually works and how it interacts with the world.
Right.
And they use terms like reactive machines, limited memory, theory of mind, and self-awareness. These sound pretty complex. Can you explain them?
Yeah, so these terms refer to different levels of sophistication
Okay.
in terms of how AI systems process information and make decisions.
Right.
So, starting with reactive machines, they are the simplest kind of AI. They don't have any memory
I've
of past experiences. They just react to what's happening in the present moment.
got it.
And a really good example of this is Deep Blue.
Oh, the chess computer.
Exactly. It was a computer program developed by IBM that beat Garry Kasparov,
Right.
the world chess champion, in 1997. But Deep Blue didn't remember any of its previous moves. It just analyzed the current board position
Right.
and chose the best move based on that.
So like it was only thinking about what was happening right then and there.
Exactly. And then you have limited memory AI, which is a step up in complexity. So these AI systems
Okay.
can use some past data to inform their decisions. So they have limited memory of past experiences.
Okay.
A good example of this is self-driving cars.
Ah, right.
Okay, so they use sensors to gather information about their surroundings. And they also remember things like
Right.
recent traffic patterns, the position of lane markings, and other cars around them.
Right.
And they use all of this information to make decisions about how to drive safely.
So it's almost like they're learning from their experiences.
Yeah, in a way. They are learning from their past experiences,
Yeah.
but it's a very limited memory.
Okay.
And then you have theory of mind AI, which is even more advanced. So this is the idea that an AI system could understand that other beings have their own thoughts, feelings, and intentions.
Wow. Okay.
So this is a pretty complex concept, and it's something that humans develop over time as we interact with other people.
Right.
But currently, AI systems don't really have this capability. They can't really understand what other people are thinking or
So
feeling.
this is still in the future.
Yeah, this is still something that researchers are working on. And then finally, you have self-awareness, which is the most advanced level of AI functionality. So this would be an AI that's not only aware of the world around it, but it's also aware of itself as an individual.
Wow.
It understands that it exists, it has its own thoughts and feelings, and it has a sense of its own identity.
Okay.
Again, this is something that doesn't exist yet,
Yeah.
but it's a topic that is being discussed and debated by philosophers and
Nice.
AI researchers.
It's a little mind-bending, frankly.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered these two ways of categorizing AI.
Right.
Now let's dive into some of the specific areas or like subfields of AI
Right.
that are kind of driving innovation right now.
Yeah.
And our sources list a bunch. There's machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, computer vision, and robotics.
Yeah, those are the big ones.
So let's just start with machine learning. I mean, what exactly is machine learning?
So machine learning, or ML as it's often called, is basically the way that computers can learn from data
Okay.
without being explicitly programmed. So instead of having a programmer write out every single rule for what the computer should do, you feed the computer a huge amount of data, and then the computer uses algorithms to find patterns in that data
Right.
and learn from those patterns. And then it can use what it's learned to make predictions or decisions about new data that it hasn't seen before.
So it's almost like it's figuring things out on its own.
Yeah, kind of. It's finding patterns and relationships in the data that humans might not even be able to see.
Wow.
And then you have deep learning, which is a type of machine learning
Okay.
that uses artificial neural networks.
Neural network.
Yeah, so these are algorithms that are inspired by the way the human brain works,
Okay.
and they're really good at learning complex patterns from huge amounts of data.
Okay, so it's like machine learning on steroids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
much more powerful and can handle much more complex tasks.
Okay, got it. Now, what about natural language processing?
So natural language processing, or NLP, is the field of AI that focuses on getting computers to understand and process human language.
Mhm.
And so this includes things like being able to read text, understand the meaning of words and sentences,
Right.
and even generate text that sounds like it was written by a human.
Right.
And there are some really cool examples of this in the real world, like ChatGPT
Okay.
is a chatbot that can have conversations with humans that are surprisingly natural and engaging.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky how good it is.
It is. It's really impressive. And then you also have things like Google Translate, which can translate text between languages really accurately.
Right.
So NLP is really changing the way we interact with computers and the way we access information.
Got it. Now, what about computer vision? What does that mean?
So computer vision is basically about giving computers the ability to see and understand the world the way humans do.
Okay.
So this includes things like recognizing objects and images, understanding scenes,
Right.
and even tracking movement.
Okay.
And this is used in a lot of different applications like face recognition software,
Right.
self-driving cars, and medical imaging all use computer vision.
Got it. And then lastly, we have robotics.
Yes. So robotics is the field of AI that combines AI algorithms with physical robots.
Okay.
So this means that you're not just having a computer program that can think and learn,
Right.
but you also have a physical machine that can move around and interact with the world.
Right.
And this is used in a lot of different areas like manufacturing, healthcare, and even space exploration.
Okay, so it's like the AI is getting physical.
Exactly.
Okay, this is all super fascinating stuff. But I think a lot of our listeners are probably wondering, like, okay, this is all great, but how is this stuff actually being used in the real world?
Right.
You know, like, what are the practical applications of AI? And luckily, our sources have a lot to say about that.
They do.
And they talk about things like automation, medicine, finance, marketing, search engines, and chatbots.
Yeah.
So maybe we can go through each of those and talk about how AI is changing those fields.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so let's start with automation. What's happening there?
So automation is one of the biggest areas where AI is having an impact. Basically, AI is being used to automate tasks that are
Okay.
currently done by humans. So this could be anything from, simple repetitive tasks
Right.
to more complex tasks that require some level of decision making.
Got it.
And this is happening in a lot of different industries. Like in manufacturing, AI is being used to control robots
Right.
that can assemble products on assembly lines.
Right.
In customer service, AI is being used to power chatbots that can answer customer questions and resolve issues.
Right.
And in finance, AI is being used to automate tasks like fraud detection and risk assessment.
So AI is basically taking over a lot of the jobs that humans used to do.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it,
Yeah.
but it's also creating new jobs.
Okay,
So while AI is automating some tasks, it's also creating new opportunities in areas like AI development and AI management.
got it. So it's not just a simple case of AI replacing humans.
Right, it's more complex than that.
Okay, so that's automation. What about medicine? How is AI changing the healthcare industry?
So AI is having a really big impact on medicine.
Okay.
And one of the biggest areas is in disease diagnosis.
Mm,
So AI is being used to analyze medical images like X-rays and MRIs
great.
to help doctors detect diseases earlier and more accurately.
Okay.
And this is already having a big impact on patient outcomes. Like, for example, there are AI systems that can now detect skin cancer
Wow.
with a higher accuracy rate than dermatologists.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And AI is also being used in drug discovery.
Okay.
So researchers are using AI to analyze huge amounts of data to identify potential new drug targets.
Right?
And this is helping to speed up the process of developing new treatments for diseases.
That's great. So AI is helping to save lives and improve health outcomes.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to finance.
Yeah, so AI is being used in a lot of different ways in finance.
Okay.
Like, for example, it's being used to detect fraud. So banks and credit card companies are using AI to analyze transactions and identify patterns
Okay.
that might indicate fraudulent activity.
Right.
And this is helping to prevent millions of dollars in losses every year.
Wow.
AI is also being used to make investment decisions. So there are hedge funds that are using AI to analyze market data
And
and make trades.
right.
And some of these funds are actually outperforming human traders.
So the AI is becoming a better investor than humans.
Well, some people would say that it's definitely a controversial topic,
Right.
but it's clear that AI is having a big impact on the financial industry.
Okay, so that's finance. What about marketing? How is AI being used in marketing?
So AI is changing the way companies market their products and services.
Okay.
And one of the biggest areas is in personalized marketing.
Okay.
So companies are using AI to collect data about their customers,
Right.
like their browsing history, their purchase history, and their social media activity.
Oh.
And then they use this data to create personalized marketing messages that are more likely to resonate with individual customers.
So that's why I keep getting ads for things that I'm actually interested in.
Exactly. And AI is also being used to automate marketing tasks,
Right.
like sending out email campaigns and managing social media accounts.
Okay, so AI is making marketing more efficient and effective.
Yeah, and it's also making it more creepy.
How so?
Well, some people find it creepy that companies are collecting all this data about them
Right.
and using it to target them with ads.
Yeah, it can feel a little invasive.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's move on to search engines.
Okay, so search engines like Google and Bing are using AI in a lot of different ways to improve the search experience for users.
Right.
So, for example, AI is being used to understand the intent behind search queries.
Okay.
So if you search for best pizza near me,
Right.
Google's AI algorithms can figure out that you're looking for a pizza restaurant that's close to your current location. And then they can use that information to show you the most relevant results.
Okay, that makes sense.
AI is also being used to personalize search results.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've searched for something in the past,
Right.
Google might show you similar results in the future.
Right.
And AI is also being used to fight spam and fake news.
So AI is making search engines smarter and more useful.
Exactly.
And finally, we have chatbots.
Yeah, so chatbots are basically computer programs that can simulate conversation with humans.
Okay.
And they're being used more and more in customer service,
Right.
where they can answer questions, resolve issues, and even provide technical support.
Okay.
And some chatbots are so sophisticated that it's hard to tell that you're not talking to a real person.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. And AI is playing a big role in making chatbots more intelligent and engaging.
Got it. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of the ways that AI is being used today, but I think it's also important to talk about the future of AI. And our sources have some pretty interesting and maybe even a little scary predictions about where AI is headed.
Right.
So maybe we can start by talking about AGI again, artificial general intelligence.
Okay, so AGI is the idea that we could create AI that's as intelligent as humans across a wide range of tasks.
Right.
And this is something that a lot of AI researchers are working towards.
Okay.
But it's a really difficult problem to solve
Right.
because human intelligence is incredibly complex.
Okay.
We're not just good at solving problems. We're also good at things like understanding emotions, being creative,
Right.
and making moral judgments.
Right.
And so to create AGI, we needed to figure out how to replicate all of these capabilities in a machine.
And do you think that's possible?
I think it's definitely possible,
Okay.
but it's hard to say when it might happen.
Yeah.
Some experts think that we can see AGI within the next few decades.
Okay.
Others think it could take much longer.
Wow.
But regardless of when it happens, AGI will be a huge technological breakthrough,
Okay.
and it would have a profound impact on society.
And beyond AGI, there's also the possibility of super AI, right?
So super AI would be AI that surpasses human intelligence in virtually every way.
Right.
And this is something that a lot of people are worried about.
Right.
Because if we create AI that's smarter than us, it could potentially become very powerful and difficult to control.
Yeah, that's kind of a scary thought.
It is.
Yep.
And it's something that we need to be thinking about carefully.
Okay, so those are some of the potential futures of AI, and I think it's important to note that there are a lot of different opinions about what the future holds.
Right.
Some people are very optimistic about AI.
Yes.
They think it's going to solve a lot of the world's problems and make our lives better in countless ways.
Right.
But other people are more cautious.
Yeah.
They're worried about the potential risks of AI, like the possibility of AI becoming too powerful or being used for harmful purposes.
Right.
And so I think it's important to be aware of both of these perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to be informed about the potential benefits and risks of AI.
Right.
And to be engaged in the conversation about how we want to develop and use this technology in the future.
Exactly. And I think that's a great point to end on.
Yeah.
So to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of what AI is,
Right.
how it works, and the potential impact it could have on our lives.
Yeah, and we hope it sparks some interesting thoughts and questions for you to consider.
Exactly. And as AI continues to evolve and become more integrated into our lives,
Yeah.
it's going to be more important than ever to stay informed and engaged in the conversation about its development and use.
Absolutely.
So thanks for joining us on the deep dive,
Thanks for having me.
and we'll see you next time.
See you then.
So, for all of you listening out there, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this. You know, AI is such a complex topic, and there are so many different perspectives on it. So, what do you think? What are the most important things to consider as we move into this increasingly AI-driven future? Leave us a comment, send us an email, whatever you want. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, let's keep this conversation going.
Exactly. All right. Until next time, keep diving deep.